Hey, it's the Chief Bonding with Board Games. Today I'm coming to you with a dungeon crawler review called the Depths of Durangrar. Alright, what makes this different from a normal dungeon crawler? Alright, it's got a board that can be changed, the map can be changed, but here's the key: you're playing in the dark. The monster player gets night vision. Oh, what? Alright, and then the other, up to 3 other players are playing the heroes. They have these little cats. They've got, can you see that? Probably not. They've got little LEDs in them that are different colors, and they even kind of flicker, almost like torchlight. Let me turn these off. Can you see the green one? Yeah, maybe. Let me turn these off so I don't burn them out. I'll forget. All right. So they're moving around doing the typical move, search for loot, get ambushed by monsters, blow down walls, try to work their way through the maze, but it's totally dark other than their character's little LED / torchlight, so it's a little spooky. Again, 2 to 4 players, total dark. Let me go in and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about here. Everything you're looking at is still kind of a it's like pre-production. I believe it's going to Kickstarter right now, or has already come up on Kickstarter. You may be seeing this on Kickstarter. So your final components may vary slightly, but I was really surprised by what's going on here. There was a lot of 3D printing, so I'm sure just for game design. So like this tray, which is very nice, I can tell is 3D printed. So things you look at may be different in the final complete production run. Just a caveat. Go in and take a look. All right, on the closer look, I wanted to first focus on the modular board. These are literally tiles that fit together like little puzzle piece. And then you put all these little, let me pop one out. You put all these little plastic little pieces in. And then that allows you to come in and design, I'm gonna mess that up now. There we go. That allows you to come in and put these little wall cards in. They just slot in. So it's a dungeon crawler labyrinth kind of game that's completely modular, and that is all messed up, and that'll drive me crazy if I leave it like that. Better, so to do the walkthrough, the game handles, it's got to play at least 2. One person's got to be the monsters. This is the monster blind that I've got set up. All right, and the other player is going to be one of the explorers, one of the heroes. Which they'll have a blind that's covering their deal. It's got some helpful little tips on it. Nicely produced. Now everything you're looking at is kind of a pre-production model. A lot of stuff I can tell used 3D printing, which is very cool. So don't consider this all final art or final production, but really it looks pretty nice. And this, you're wondering, what is this? Well, again, I've already explained that this game's played completely in the night. And so these are designed as little LEDs that light up, and you can read this. Now I'm getting old. I needed a second one to kind of shine around. So I had like this, and then I had a little one that I used as I was playing my son as like a flashlight. But it does set that mood of darkness, and you don't want too much light because the whole point is the guy playing the explorers is coming in blind, and his little heroes, which by the way, again, these are all 3D printed, so they're not perfectly clear, but they each have their own different colored light. Let me turn these on. And notice how they kind of flicker? When they're down on the board in the dark, it feels like torchlight. It really does. Now, I mean, you got a green torch, and you got more of a regular kind of torch. And let me see, I forget what this guy has. More of a white kind of regular torch. And you've got an explorer, a scout, a demolitionist, and a knight. And they each come with some different abilities. But when this is down here in the dark, and I'll try to show you some stills, what happens is you get a limited view of the direction you're facing in. And as you move through this map, when you use an action, you can move sideways because it costs you an action to turn and rotate. So sometimes you're moving blind around the map just because you want to save some of your actions.
A space is any square that would be created. So here's a space, space, and you can just kind of see anything that would be created in a square is a space. And in each space, there's these little different icons. Let me zoom in. So here, if you stopped in this space, and again, it's not perfectly lined up, and you can see a little bit of that puzzle piece-ness where this basic board even gets put together. You can make it bigger or smaller. This is a mining event. I'll go into those a little bit more in a second. This would be an ambush event, and this is, and I'm losing my white color balance, sorry, this is a treasure event. Now let me come back a little bit more, but you can even see really cool, almost like a leathery texture that's on these puzzle piece tiles. Let me flip this back. So your main goal as a hero is you're going to enter on one side, and you're just going to go through and try to land on these treasure spots or mine for gold. And if I pan over just right there, there's this nice handy tray. So these are weapons and things you can find, and these are gems, precious gems and gold that you can find. And you're going to be going through the maze and just trying to pick up your loot. And then when you pick up your loot, you're going to be putting it into your little trays, again 3D printed, kind of neat. From there, it's pretty much kind of a straight dungeon crawl, even almost simple. The hard thing is you're playing totally in the dark, so you don't have that perfect information. If you were just playing like this, I think it would be completely boring. You would see the bad guys coming, but the bad guys, with the monster, as the monster player, you get to throw one of these guys out. This is like a snake slash pincer eating thing. It's crazy. Special ability, it can leap over walls, but these are dark. And when you got all the lights out and all you got on the board is these little torchlight deals, and I forgot to mention, the monster player is wearing night vision goggles. We'll come back to those later. So they can see everything. The monster player gets to see everything, but the guys and gals playing the heroes can really kind of only see in their little tiny area. You can see, okay, you can kind of see there's a wall over there, but you're not sure what it is. And you're just moving around trying to land on these areas and collect. And it gets a little spooky. It gets a little scary because this thing can literally come over top of a wall. Of course, it uses its action points to do so. Attack you. You try to defend. There's some dice rolling. It jumps back over the wall. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And it has that whole spooky kind of thing to it. Then you got this little guy, the excavator. He can run around, and he has this temporary wall. I have it right, let me grab it, right here. He gets to build these temporary walls so he can block you off or kind of trap you. And the wall has its own health points, like 6, I think. And so you can try to destroy that wall to get out of there, but then meanwhile something else is coming, or you're just plain trapped and kind of stuck. And then he can come in and repair the walls, or he can knock them down and move it around. And again, this is all done in a totally dark room. You either want, like, I don't know where, this is some of the problem I had. I don't have a room that's completely dark short of a bathroom, and I wasn't going to set up in a bathroom, but that's okay. You almost got to do some fake stuff. It even tells you in the rules there's some deceit where you might come in because the other players can see you move your hand and move around, but you can actually pretend like you're moving something, and they can't really tell if you're moving this guy or one of these other guys or not. That reminds me, sorry, we got the fungus guy. This guy's gonna come in and he drops these little things down that are gonna, like tar that slows you down, or these little fungus things that are gonna do damage to you if they get on you. So the monster player with their night vision goggles on has perfect information and just moves through the dark to attack you. Meanwhile, you've got the explorers, up to 3 of them, that are moving around the maze, and they can work cooperatively. They can come together as long as they're one square apart, and they can work together and share their information, but they're also not totally cooperative, because to win the game, you want to be the one with the most precious stones and gems. They can break off, go do their own thing. You don't have to join with anybody. You can work together. You can attack monsters together. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. And again, totally dark with the lights just kind of flashing around and flickering. And that brings me to some stuff which I'll talk about later. You've got a few little things. So now again, this may not end up being the final night vision gear, but I was in the Army, and I know it's expensive, but this sucks. you can't see well. And I'm used to night vision goggles, let me pan out, where they're awesome. I mean, you can see everything. They're great. And I wish I had a pair of night vision goggles from the Army, because it'd work wonderful, but they're like $300. Okay, so that's not gonna do. I ended up having my son, hey, close your eyes. And then I would move my monster wherever it was supposed to go, get it all set up, and then I'd say, okay, open your eyes. And what I would use was I would use one of these, and when he shut his eyes, I would just kind of shine it around on the board and get an idea of where I was, what I wanted to do. Of course, you can see the heroes because they're lit up. But, you know, if that wearing night vision goggles is kind of a pain in the butt. So we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, there's some other things where both the monster and the different heroes have these dials. You're going to take skill points, very much like Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, and you're going to allot things to your attack, to your action points, and to your health. So this is a health for one of the heroes. This just monster deaths, how many monsters have died, and I'm going to have wall health, explorers, how many they've died, and then you're going to track every hero has their own little health dial, and the monsters track their health dial. So that part's very standard. I mean, you're going to work out, they even have little suggestions. Hey, you're a new player, one of the defaults you can see here is kind of set up, so there's a default. Let me explain what the different heroes do, or the different explorers do. So you got your knight. Again, you're going to be using your skill points to decide where your power's at, where your attack's at, where your health is going to be at. You'll have 16 of those. And when you're moving, you're going to have 6 movement points that you'll do, that you'll decide, do you want to move, do you want to attack? But the knight, his special power, her special power, is reduce damage taken by amount assigned to power. So as you assign power, you can really take that damage down. And then again, it tells you here's your starting skill points. So I can see in the future that maybe there's a lot of different types of characters, archetypes that you can use in the game. You have the scout. So the scout special power, start your turn with an additional action point. So again, the default is 6, so this guy would now have 7. By amount assigned to power, starting skill points, okay, and here we go. So he could have even more than that. Now again, you start with 16 skill points, 3 of them to move up 1. On your attack, this guy's 2 to move up 1. I should have showed here, same deal. Come to the Demolitionist. So you can see the Demolitionist special power is destroy any wall in the maze for 1 AP. It's one of your action points, and 1 TNT. And starting skill point is 16. Now here's what was a little confusing on this, and you can see something's been pasted on, so I don't know what this said before. Power, 1 power, 3, so he's gonna have these, but your action points are what you use to move around. So you have 6, and this is one of the ones where just reading through the rules, it wasn't clear to me, and maybe I missed something, but so I can destroy any wall in the maze for 1 of my action points. That's what I use to move around or fight. And 1 TNT. TNT is stuff I can find over here when I'm searching through treasure chests. But what exactly is my 4 power doing? You know, and the other ones, it'll give me an extra action point, or the knight, it can reduce my damage. So I have 4, and it's 2 SP 4, yet 1 power equals 3 SP. That part got a little confusing. And again, I may have missed something. So when we played, I didn't use the Demolitionist because I was confused. And we just played the Knight and the Scout when we tried it out. All right, and the monsters. So I've already run through the monsters for you, but there they are. Bingo. Now this is kind of interesting. You take the box, this is the box lid. You're going to have yet another light system. Now with this white in here, and you can't tell, it does a pretty good job. I mean, it lights the area. And then when you have a certain attack, you're going to roll this die. And for this, again, this is prototype. These are these, you know, plastic die where you put the stickers on. You're going to be minusing your health. Here you get away. You're going to be finding different weapons, all right, and loot. So you're going to be rolling these in a low light scenario. Turn this off so I don't ruin the watch battery. Again, sometimes I had to bring in my extra light and pick this up and take a look and shine it. Playing in the dark is, as you can imagine, sometimes frustrating, but it definitely sets the mood. And with this white background and the light up here, it doesn't light the whole area up, just the box, and you can kind of move it further away from the board if you don't want to light up the board too much. So again, they're keeping to the element. You're rolling the dice in the box lid. It's a big, thick box lid, so you don't lose your die or your dice. And attacks are pretty straightforward. Someone rolls the attack die, someone rolls a defense die, a shield takes one off. The running away guy means you run away, you didn't get hit at all. Here you're minusing a health or you're losing a gold, and it's really straightforward on attacks, as you can imagine. So nothing real unique or special there. The whole deal is the mood of playing in the dark and having that limited information, and the things coming over and attack you, or walls have appeared, or you've just been sucked in a trap, and now where am I on this map? And last, the rule book. Very nice finish. Again, this is just prototype stuff, and very nice with the layout of the items. You get a little backhand color story. Here's what I liked. There's a lot of pictures that come in and kind of show you how to set things up. Here's the light, here's your screen, here's how your dials go, here's a suggested way to lay them out. Shows how your explorers are moving. Probably the oddest or wonkiest thing in the rules is that when they're moving, they can move sideways or even backwards, like they're shuffling around, and it takes an extra action point to turn them. But that's done so that you are shining your light or your torch in a certain way. And I get it. It's a little gamey, but not bad. Everything to come in. Hey, here's how you set up the board. It's got all the information. Explains how the explorers work, the monster setup. Some of the rules, a little rough to read. Nothing horrible. And again, we're in, this is prototype. Well, not prototype phase, but this is a review copy. So things may change. But again, I love the breakouts that are here. And the main thing going on, again, you're in the dark. So you're playing in the dark and you're doing your movement. We'll come out and I'll give you final thoughts.
All right, you've seen it. And I've hit on a few things that are problematic. I'm going to tell you right out, and I know I already kind of said, hey, I was in the Army, I had night vision goggles. This is going to be an expensive thing to play this game. You've got to have this night vision to get the feel of what's going on. I like the fog of war that goes on when it's dark, and that the monster player sees everything and decides, am I bringing this little wall jumper, worm, monster looking predator mouth thing? That's what it looks like. Yeah. Or am I going to set some traps and slow them down, or am I going to put up these walls and block them in and jack with them? Love that aspect of it. So gameplay is good in terms of what you're doing, but you got to play it pitch dark. So that's going to add a layer on top of it. Now, does that set the mood? Yes. Do I love the little torchlight feeling of the heroes? Yes, love it. I love the fact that they can only see a little bit. It feels like they're holding a torch, and man, I can only see like 30 feet up there, and then it turns, the wall turns, and oh my God, this worm thing just came over the wall or under the ground or whatever, and it's on me, and it's attacking. Now, some of the dice rolling, it's pretty straightforward. Roll this. If the defender does this, he gets away. If he does this, he flips it on the attacker. That's okay. It seemed a little bit rough, but it's nothing different from really any other games you're playing. It's just the mode in which they had it. The player aid boards are great. Again, the fact that you have little LED lights on them, that you have them on your die or on the box that you're rolling your dice in, that's great. But all comes back to, can the monster really see what's going on? Not with these night vision goggles. Now, these are aftermarket stuff, so maybe the ones that are going to be in the full game, I don't know how you get the price point down. It seems like that would be the cost going way up phase. If they worked properly and they were simple, it'd be awesome. So I'm not going to evaluate it on these not working too well, because all I did was what I kind of mentioned was I just took one of these other ones and would tell my son, close your eyes. And then I would figure out what I was going to do, shut it down, open your eyes back up. But therein lies the fault. And it's with any game that's doing something that's got a limiting factor on it. So you need to play this game in the dark to get the full ambiance, the feel. The game is tied to the darkness. You couldn't play it with the lights on and have that same gameplay because you can see the worm thing coming and I can avoid where that other monster is. He's over there. He's not even close. I can run over here and get this and no problem. The darkness is what adds the tension. Other games use mechanics to do it. This one uses the physical darkness. That can be neat, but I'm telling you, my boy would be like, hey, can we go play? Nah, it's not dark enough yet. Okay, there's too much light coming in from this big window over here, and I don't have a huge blind. And then he's like, can we put it in the bathroom? Because it's real dark in the bathroom. We can sit on the floor. No, I'm not sitting on the floor in a bathroom. Clean bathroom, but I'm not sitting on the floor. All right, so anytime you add something that's self-limiting like that, it's got to be dark. That's a whole nother niche. It's a whole nother kind of niche game. And now everything's got to work. The night vision goggles that are final production for the game better be good. These were not. So I couldn't get it to work. It's got this little focusing thing. But again, you may not have these, so I'm not going to go into reviewing the night vision goggles. They just didn't work. And they were kind of bugged my eye. So you're going to have to get that right if the monster player is going to be able to play it the way they need to play it. That being said, if you like that ambiance, you got a crew that wants to come in and play it that way, and enjoys that level of experience, or you've got a really dark room that you can make dark and it's easy to just pop and hey, we're in playing the dark game, great. Like I said, what this brings that's different is the modular board with that night and that darkness and that oppressive feeling of not being able to see very far. You do feel like you're exploring. So it hits on that level. And if somehow the final production can get it to there where the night vision works great and it doesn't jack the price up too much, I think you've got a hit. Again, as long as you don't mind that, oh, it's got to be dark. You know, I worry about people spilling drinks and stuff. I usually want to play something with nice lights on and see the people I'm playing with, but this is an ambiance game, so know that going in. So, this is Chief, bonding with board games. See ya.